All right, now we live. All right, y'all. I'm going to share this to my page and give people time to come on in, and we're gonna get started.
Okay.
I'm gonna share this to my page. Y'all come on in and come on in. Hi, come on in. Welcome. Hi, come on in. Come on in, y'all. How y'all doing tonight? Come on in. Yes, Lord, come on in. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Yeah, come on in. I'm excited tonight, y'all. Come on in. All right, it's on my page. And we ain't gonna wait. We ain't gonna waste no time. We just gonna get into it. You know, whatever you missed, just rewatch it. All right, how y'all doing tonight? Welcome to the Self-Love Journey, Conversations with Shei Atkins, where we learn how to have a healthy relationship with ourselves. And it's so important. And I'm so excited about tonight's guest because in this season, we need what she has to say. So I think you might need to get you a pen and a pad. Get your notes ready because she got some good information she gonna give us tonight. This is Miss Shannon Khan, psychotherapist Shannon Khan, and she's gonna be talking to us about how to fix our mind in this season to keep us with the thoughts that lead us to depression and anxiety. And you know, daily, I'm meditating to try to keep that thing under control. So a lot hit us this year, and so she's gonna give us some tools to help us keep our mind where it needs to be. So anyway, let me introduce Miss Psychotherapist Shannon Khan. Come on, talk to us. Talk to us.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here. Um, I am, usually kind of private in the work that I do, so I'm excited to be able to share, with the public, and with some people that need to hear this information tonight.
Yeah.
And basically, just a little background on myself. I am a licensed psychotherapist. I've been practicing for 15 years. I have done the brunt of my work with CPS children and families that were going through trauma. I've worked a lot of child abuse cases, a lot of domestic violence victims, things like that. And then I also like to focus on the Black community in my practice because it's needed.
Yeah.
So, a lot of us are going through a lot this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
This has actually been one of the hardest years in my life. I've had, a lot of stresses on me with my children being at home this year. I've had a lot of losses from COVID related deaths. I lost my father, who was, everything to me.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I think about, other times in my life that were the hardest for me, divorce comes to mind. Being a single mother was one of the hardest times in my life. And relationships, just, dating and trying to figure out how to navigate the dating world with a higher level of self-esteem for myself and
Yeah.
boundaries and all those things that keep us from continuing to traumatize and re-traumatize um, ourselves. So I'm here to kind of talk about just kind of the thoughts that we deal with in
Yeah.
everyday life when we're going through loss, when we're going through anxiety issues, when we're going through depression, and when we're going through confusing and or hurtful relationships.
Yeah.
One of the things that we talk about a lot in therapy is cognitions. That's something that we talk about a lot because you can go to the
Mhm.
psychiatrist and you can take medication and you can exercise and you can do all these different things, meditate, and even some very not so great practices like substance abuse. There's a million things you can do to try to make yourself
Hmm.
better when
Yeah.
you're experiencing things like guilt, depression, loneliness, um, withdrawal symptoms, rejection, things like that. But if you don't know how to work on your own, recognize and work on your own thought patterns, things just will never ever seem to get better.
Yeah.
Kind of go in the same cycles
You're
over and
right.
over again. So, in therapy and specifically cognitive behavioral therapy, we work on thoughts a lot. We work
Yeah.
on thoughts and how to change those on your own for yourself when no one else is around.
Yeah.
Um, so, and it's something that requires practice
Yeah.
and it's something that requires commitment. Um, but I wanted to just kind of educate everybody on kind of some of the most common irrational thoughts that we tend to engage in
Yeah.
when we're afraid and depressed and anxious, so that you can just kind of become familiar with it, kind of take the tools that I'm going to give you, and then maybe do some more of your own research about how to work on those things.
Yeah. And let me say this, y'all. She will be open to answering any questions that you have about what she's talking
Absolutely.
about. So we watching, and looking out for your questions as well as getting the information. All right, go
Absolutely.
ahead.
Absolutely. So when we when we get upset, we usually get upset because something will happen that we had no control over. That's something that, causes our anger, that causes our sadness,
Mm-hmm.
you know, self punitive type things and guilt and all types of, unhealthy emotions. And usually, what we'll do is we will attribute something that happens or the way that someone treats us to how we feel. That's something that we just automatically do. You know,
Yeah.
this happens, so I feel this way. You know, and then after it keeps happening, then we will kind of predict that pattern. Every time this happens, I feel this way.
Yeah.
But that's actually not the way that our brain works. What happens is something happens, we have these different thoughts about it, and that is what causes us to feel the way that we feel. In
Mm.
addition to, whatever chemical makeup that we already have, and some
Yeah.
of us have a family history of depression, have a family history of anxiety, what have you. And the thing about it is, back in the day, nobody really, especially Black folk, people of color, we really didn't admit to, I have an anxiety disorder, I have, major depressive disorder. So, you kind of have to look back at your relatives and see what they struggled with and how they handled things to try to figure out what your family history may be, because you may not know. Some people might know about different diagnoses that they had in their family, but most people don't know, and they have to kind of infer based on what they saw, on
Yeah.
what we're struggling with. So we're already coming in with this chemical makeup, and that affects our serotonin levels and things like that. And then we have these thought patterns that we have become accustomed to engaging in. So one of those
Yeah.
patterns is filtering. Filtering is one that I want to talk about tonight. Um, One thing that we like to do as human beings, we like to pick out one negative thing that happened in a situation and just obsess over it and ignore all the good things that happen. So, um, with in my own situation, when I became divorced, for example, it's like you wake up in the morning and remember your divorce. You go to the school and remember you're the divorced mom coming into the school. You know,
Yeah.
at the time I had just finished graduate school. I'm focusing more on the fact that I'm going through a divorce than the fact that I finished graduate school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
My child might bring me a picture that they drew. Oh, that's a nice picture. Smile, whatever. Go back in the room and remember I'm divorced. So
yeah, yeah,
if anybody's ever had like a breakup, like a fresh breakup, this is something that just consumes you all day long.
yeah.
And
That's
all
right.
the good things that are happening are being ignored because we're focusing on this one little negative aspect
Yeah,
in our life or in a situation. Another good example is like people that are single sometimes will focus on being single, most of the day, most of the year. They're focused everywhere they go. They're thinking that they're single. They're thinking when they talk to people, your relatives ask you, hey, you dating anybody? How's everything going? And then you got to think about, well, I'm single and I got to explain to these people why I'm single. And
yeah,
you might have a million things positive going on, but that single piece really
yeah,
bothers some people
yeah,
um, as an aspect in their life. So that type of thinking is really irrational because it's not balanced.
yeah,
It's really not logical, because if you were to take like a chart and write out all the good things you have going on, being single or being divorced, or maybe even, getting in a car accident that day, or your bank account being overdraft, or something, that one little bad thing that's happening doesn't define who you are. It doesn't define everything you're experiencing in your life. And if it's hurting you to think that way, it's something that you need to identify and work on,
yeah.
for sure. So what we're going to talk later about different things we can do to work on all these thought patterns that I'm going to go over today. But just for the filtering itself, journaling positively is very helpful.
Yeah,
And they have learned this, in the psychological community, and they've started to distribute journals that are already pre-designed for only positive things. I don't know if anybody's ever seen those on the
yeah,
bookshelf, but somebody
yeah,
gave me one for my 40th birthday. Um,
yeah,
it was a positivity journal, you know,
yeah,
because we know that this is beneficial to us to focus on the positives, you
yeah.
know.
That's right.
And if you only focus on the positives, some people would say that's, living in some type of false reality or that type of thing. But it depends on what the cost is. Some people cannot afford to focus on negative things. It
I
will
know
kill.
that's right. Yeah, and I always say gratefulness, changes your mental atmosphere.
Right,
Gratefulness is a tool that you need
right,
in your self-love toolbox.
right. Have you seen these gratefulness journals that they have
Mm,
that people can pick up and fill out?
mm-mm.
Yeah,
But
they've got journals. They've got decks of cards. You know,
yeah,
there's a lot of literature that's been designed about, the health benefits of
yeah,
gratefulness. So this is something that we're learning is really helpful. So that's one thing, is to just like focus on and write down the
yeah,
positive aspects of your life. And the other thing is to just realize that you don't control the negative things that happen in your life, you know, and to just actually literally admit that. Some people say that they know that they don't control these different, but they really don't believe that. They really believe there's something they could have done differently, uh,
mm,
for things to work out differently with their children or with their marriage or what have you. And, the truth of the matter, if we really be real about a situation, we don't have control over much.
mm.
We really don't. And, 2020 has shown us that this has been a great year for gratefulness.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
And for exemplifying the fact that there's very little we can control in our
And what you
lives.
mean? What you mean by it's very little that we can control?
We can control very little. We cannot even control the way that our government is being run. We cannot control, I can't even control who provides my cable. I can't stand Xfinity.
Yeah,
But that's all that's available to me. I mean,
yeah,
there's so many different things that I don't have control over in my life,
yeah,
that if I can understand that, then when things happen, like somebody to hit my car,
Yeah.
or somebody to rob me, or someone to hurt me, I need to understand that I don't control that either.
Mm.
You know, that helps me to not beat myself up about what I could have done differently. That helps me to not um, feel like I need to obsess over what happened. You know, my father passed away in March. He
Mm.
passed away. He actually was having breathing complications, possibly
Mm.
related to COVID. We're not sure, but he had to pull the plug on himself.
Mm.
That's something that somebody could drive themselves crazy over. Like,
Yeah.
what could we have done? Like, what treatment? What,
Yeah.
so it's helpful to me in that situation to understand that, I did not have control over that situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period. So
Yeah.
that's that's filtering. Does anybody have any questions about filtering?
Not yet. They.
Not yet. Okay. They might come. Well, let's move
Yeah.
on because I
Okay.
got I got like 6 or 7 I'm gonna cover. Okay, so polarized thinking. That's the next one I want to talk about.
Okay. Polarized thinking.
We
Y'all
talk
write
about
that
this
down.
all the time in therapy. This is a big one because we have our critics and our perfectionists that love this one.
Mm.
So this is all or nothing, black white thinking. There's no middle ground. I'm either perfect or I'm a failure. I'm
Mm.
doing great or I'm doing horrible.
Wow.
People like me, they hate me. I'm
Wow.
good enough, I'm not good enough.
Wow.
I'm happy, I'm absolutely miserable.
Wow.
No in between.
Wow.
There's people that live this way. There's people that actually live this way. There's people that raise their children this way. You're
Mm.
doing good, I'm proud of you. You're horrible. Go to your room. You're terrible.
Wow.
You
I'm
know.
trying to think, is that me, Lord?
We all kind of do some of this stuff. All of us do. Some of it or all of it, but um and especially like if you were raised in a very critical home
Mm-hmm.
where it's like if you're doing good, everything's good, and the minute you make a mistake, everything is bad,
Wow.
then you will start to do this to yourself as
Mm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we do this in relationships, it's like somebody is either, great to us and everything's good, everything's going great, or they upset us and now, I don't know if I want to be with them. They mistreat
Yeah.
me. I'm unhappy. Or maybe, you're married, everything's going good, you're accepted by society, so you're happy. You have a lot of, great pictures on social media, everything's good, but then you're going through a separation, you're going through a divorce, something like that happens, and now you're not happy in life.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. People will tell you that. People say, "Oh, I'm so glad you're happy." You get a new boyfriend, and people are like, "Oh, you look so happy. I'm so glad you're happy."
Yeah.
How can
Yeah.
you tell someone that they're happy now that they have a boyfriend? Like, that's horrible.
Wow.
It's a
A lot of
horrible
people,
thing
I
to
guess,
say.
'cause so much emphasis on having somebody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're kind of talking about relationships tonight, so I'm gonna use some examples from that. But there's so many different reasons why people do this to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Lose a job, all of a sudden, you're a failure.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good to learn to live in a gray area because
Mm-hmm.
again, we don't control a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you can respect gray area and middle ground in the way that people treat you, in the opportunities that are available to you, in how you're doing in life, and all those different things, you will tend to be a happier person.
Mm.
When you live in these extremes,
Yeah.
I love myself, I hate myself, I'm doing good, there's actually a book as it pertains to relationships. There's a book called I Hate You, Don't Leave Me.
Wow. Wow. I hate you. Don't leave me. That's something else.
Yes. And that book is about, well, it's actually about a personality disorder, but it's about extremes in relationships
Yeah.
and how far, those can go and how toxic that
Mm.
can be, you know.
Wow.
And it's the same with perfectionism. You have to understand that some things you're good at, some things you're not. We all have strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
We all have, joy and pain.
Yeah.
We all have the highs, we have the lows.
Yeah.
So it's good to be able to have a middle ground and some kind of
Yeah.
leeway with yourself and with
Yeah.
others. That's
Yeah.
important. That's important to be. And a lot of people were raised not to have that.
Wow.
So you have to kind of teach yourself that it's okay to be in a gray area with people.
Mm.
I'm still trying to figure this situation out. I'm trying to figure this person out. I know I like this about them, but I don't like that about them. As it pertains to my marriage, this is going great, but this is something that could be worked on. And that allows you to identify stuff that you actually can try to work on and change. Because if everything's either all good or all horrible, there's really nothing to work on
Yeah.
there. So that gray area really opens up some opportunities for
Yeah.
some things that you can actually, kind of hone in on and work on.
So it's kind of like pessimism.
Yes. Yeah, pessimism. Then they have people that will be bouncing off the walls, in idealism, and they'll go back and forth, you know.
I don't think I know
So,
what idealism is. What's
well, some,
idealism?
and like I say, if it's something that's hurting you, you have to work on it, you know.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Is when we're talking about these cognitions, these are things that people do naturally. So if it's hurting you, if it's contributing to your depression,
The
if it's
depression.
contributing to your anxiety, if it's contributing to your low self-esteem, if it's contributing to your social problems, then it's got to go. You got to work on it.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
how we gauge. That's how we gauge what needs to be worked on. Is it working for you? Is it working for you? You
Yeah.
know. I'm a perfectionist, I was raised to be a perfectionist, and it works for me in some instances, but mostly it doesn't.
Yeah.
Mostly it doesn't. And so I've learned to be more laid back and kind of evaluate more objectively what it is that I'm doing right and what it is that I'm doing wrong, and you know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's polarized thinking. It's no
Yeah.
bueno. It's no
Yeah.
good. Then we have um overgeneralization. Oh, this is great. This is when, based on something that has happened before, we decide that this will always happen.
Wow.
I never get the guy that I want. I always get treated like XYZ. I never get the job. I always pick the wrong guys. Bad things always happen to me.
Wow.
I have bad luck. Uh, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it makes us operate in insecurity
Hmm.
because we've already decided that we have this never ending pattern of self defeat that's going
Yeah.
on. The
Wow.
universe is against us.
Yeah.
For us spiritual folks, maybe I've sinned and I'm being punished. I'm in a cycle of punishment. I need redemption or for things to go better for me, or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Irrational, totally irrational, because you know we don't have the ability to determine who is in charge of our fate. We don't have that ability to do
Yeah.
that. And then for those that are spiritual, we know that we serve a forgiving God. So it just doesn't add up when people do this to themselves.
Yeah.
Um, And there's people that will walk into a room, like, you know, I've had some people that I've counseled that were involved in a natural disaster,
Yeah.
or that were involved in a situation where people were victimized, like in a crime situation,
Yeah.
and will literally blame themselves.
Wow. So it's
Bad
not.
things always happen when I'm in the room, you know, that kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Watch how you what you say about yourself.
Right. You know, my son, I have a 16-year-old. He has a permit, a driving permit, and he's supposed to get his license next month. And they don't have that many appointments, so we had to kind of delay it. And he,
Yeah.
oh, if we keep waiting to get my license, I know I'm gonna get pulled over. It's gonna be the last few weeks, and I just know that's just how things go for me. I just know I'm gonna get pulled over, and then I'm not gonna be. And I'm like, why would you speak that?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
would you speak that? You know, that's, don't do that.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that. You know. So with this one, what we want to do is be able to evaluate situations case by case,
Yeah.
and we want to be able to respect the unknown and just not know how things are going to go sometimes. You know,
Wow.
I'm going into this new relationship. I know what I've dealt with in the past. I know what I'm seeing that's before me, and I'm just going to see how things go
Yeah.
because I just don't know. I don't know how things are going to go. So let's see.
Yeah. Let's see. And if I see something that ain't right, hey,
Then I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
yeah, don't just automatically assume that I'm gonna have to cross that bridge.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're just removing the stigma from whatever it is that you feel like you've gone through, and you're allowing the unknown to just unfold.
Yeah.
And people can have great experiences that way. They can, you know, surprise themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. If you just give it a shot and do things different.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I've been married for almost 7 years.
Hmm.
I was in a bad marriage before this one. I was in numerous bad relationships
Yeah.
and all kind of crazy dating experiences and this and that, and you know, completely just damaged and all kind of stuff at the
Yeah.
time when I met my husband. And although I know, as being a therapist, some things that I can do to try to you know, work on the things that we're talking about, you do it more than not, but you don't always do it. So there were some days
Yeah.
where, you know, I just wasn't thinking clearly and maybe thinking bad about myself or what I have available to me and that kind of thing. And, you know, just so happened my husband, you know, has never presented me with the problems that I've experienced in the past. Just
Yeah.
haven't had to deal with that. You know, I would not have expected that. I would have thought
Yeah.
that's what I encounter when I deal with people, you
Yeah.
know.
Wow. Yeah.
So we can call it a blessing, or, you know,
Yeah. It is.
it's whatever is for you is for you.
That's
So
right. Come on now.
you can't
Yeah.
just assume, you know, you can't speak negativity
Yeah.
um
Come on.
on new situations that may present a blessing
Come
based on
on.
the past.
Come on now. And
Yeah.
y'all can ask her questions if you know hear something she talking about and you have a question on it. It's open. She'll
Yes.
answer. So,
I'm here. I can answer questions um, wide open
yeah,
about, and we're going to get into some strategies too. So don't worry. I'm going to let you know what we're going to do about these things. Okay. Because we
yeah,
all do this. All these things we're talking about, we all do it. We all do it all day long. Okay.
yeah,
So mind reading. Let's talk about mind reading. Let's talk
yeah,
about reading people's minds and being psychic.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
when I walk into a room, or when I'm on the phone with someone, or when I'm texting with someone, or when I'm in a public speaking situation, or I'm on a new job interview, I'm going to sit here and read the people's minds on how they feel about me. And of course, I'm going to make it negative
wow, yeah,
because that's what depression does, right?
wow,
That's what
wow,
anxiety does.
yeah,
Um, and I'm going to go ahead and just predict rejection
wow,
without anyone telling me anything that signifies that. I'm just going to go ahead and do that for myself. you know?
Wow.
Yeah. And then I'm going to take it one step further. And because I do that, I'm going to now avoid certain situations.
Wow.
And I'm sometimes going to preemptively um, provoke people, you know, because I know that they don't love me. I know they don't like me.
Wow.
So I'm going to provoke you so you can show me.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm going to provoke you so you can show, we can get this over with right now,
Yeah, yeah.
you
That's
know?
mine, really.
Um, very, very unhealthy. We don't know. You know, if you ever want to know, you could just ask.
Yeah, that's
Ask,
true.
do you like me? What do you feel about me? You know?
Yeah. Instead of
But,
just,
you know, even if you ask, you really don't know if they're telling you the truth. I mean, how do you know?
yeah.
There's no way to really know how somebody really feels about you unless you're in their head.
Yeah.
So the healthiest thing to do is to just sort of drop it as something that we just don't know, and to just do the best we can with discerning behavior and what people
Yeah.
tell you, and to be yourself and give what you give to a situation, knowing that I know what I bring to another person. I know what I bring to the table, and I know what I'm worthy of. So I'm just going to do that. And I'm not going to sit here and waste all this time trying to figure out what this person thinks about me. You know what I mean? Um, because most of those things will reveal themselves.
Yeah. I need to see some consistent good things. That's what I need to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, we do this all the time with text messaging. I tell people this all the time. You know, I have people that in my practice, they'll talk to me about text incidents that literally caused them panic attacks. You know,
Wow.
like just like a whole week of just uncertainty and
Yeah.
anxiety because of a text exchange.
Wow.
That happens, you know,
I
to
think I've
some.
done that before.
Yeah, and everybody's doing everything electronic now. So, you know, written word is different from spoken word, and
Yeah.
you know, people are inferring and trying to figure out what did they mean
Yeah.
by this, and
Yeah.
you know, and then we do it
Um,
with body language. We do it with body language with our
yeah.
spouses, and you know, you get a stank face. What does that mean? And the remedy for that is just communication. If you would like to know how someone feels about you, just ask them.
Yeah.
And unless somebody tells you, I hate you, I don't like you, then don't operate from a place of rejection.
Yeah.
If someone is, you know, adamant that they don't want to be involved with you, then, you know, that's fine. But if no one has said that to you, just don't operate from a place of rejection. That's not even confirmed to be the
Yeah.
case,
Yeah. Because that
especially
does
in
lead
new
to
social situations.
anxiety and depression. Yeah.
Yes, 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 because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it is.
You know, have you had have you had any experiences with mind reading?
Definitely. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Can you
Go.
share an example, like for people to hear, like what this looks like in real life?
Just assuming why somebody ain't hit me back as soon as I wanted them to hit me back. I know what you're doing.
Right.
I know what you're doing. And I'm upset about what I think you're doing. I have a
Right.
problem. I don't even know if I want to respond when just a childish, games. I don't do that no more, but I have done that, childish with it, assuming you doing something and not really knowing. And I really prepared to act a fool when you do hit me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You see how it sets up this negative energy and this
Yeah.
negative interaction that's going to happen next time I talk to this
Oh,
person.
yeah.
Then the whole outlook on the relationship is negative.
Yeah.
You know, this is stuff that consumes people.
That's right. You're right about that.
Yeah. Or have you ever been in a social situation? I've been in situations where maybe, you know, I walked in a room and I don't know anybody. And without even really paying attention to what I'm doing, I am trying to figure out what everyone is thinking about me. in that room, but how self-centered is that? Like, why would you think that everyone is thinking about you in this room?
Mm. I guess
You
it
know what I
could
mean?
be.
Yeah, I mean, it's, get out of your own head, get out of
Yeah.
yourself for a minute. And,
Yeah.
another solution to this problem is to just talk to people and ask them about themselves, ask people questions, like in more in-person situations where you're talking to people. If you kind of get out of your own head and start actually talking to people, that helps with this as well.
Yeah, that's true. Instead of just standing there, go, be friendly.
Right. If
Yeah.
you're sitting at home trying to figure out what someone thinks about you
Yeah.
based on some type of text interaction or the last phone call
Yeah.
you had or whatever, call someone up that you do know what they think about you and talk
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah. And that was
You
before
know,
I had come into the awareness of me needing to love myself and stuff like that.
right?
Now that I know my value, hey, your loss.
Yeah, yeah. Because you never know. We don't know what they really think. So all we
Yeah.
can do is judge by their behavior.
Yeah, that's right.
And if someone is not hitting you back, it is what it is. That they're
Yeah.
not hitting you back.
Yeah.
So instead of focusing on what they might think about you, you can
Yeah.
kind of focus on the fact that they're not hitting you back and move on.
Yeah.
You you can do
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
and in the same line of thought is catastrophizing. That's the next one I want to talk about
Okay.
because this is something that we do with depression so bad.
Mm.
Um, and with anxiety too. This is when we expect disaster. Okay,
Mm.
we expect the absolute worst. And when it happens, it's like proving the whole theory that this bad thing I thought was going to happen has happened, and now I'm about to fall out and die because this is the most horrible thing ever. The problem is magnified.
Mm-hmm.
Everything seems uniquely horrible. Like no one else could understand what I'm going through because this
Mm-hmm.
problem right here is is like no other,
Mm.
and it makes things seem insurmountable. It makes
Mm.
things seem insurmountable. You know, Loneliness from COVID isolation, um,
Mm-hmm.
divorce, separation, um, financial problems. People do this all the time with financial problems. You
Mm-hmm.
know, rejection, things that went bad at work. I mean, there's so many different things that we catastrophize.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you do this a lot, you will be a depressed person.
Yeah. You'll be depressed.
You'll be depressed, and what it lacks is perspective. Because if you know what's going on in the world and you know what's going on in your community and you know what's going on in other people's lives, then you will understand that you don't have a uniquely horrible problem. Everybody goes through things,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, for one, you can try to keep the problem in perspective, and you can think about other people. Think about other people in the world, not just the United States, but just globally. Kind of think about what other people are going through right now.
Yeah.
You know, I used to hear about people that would commit suicide because they went bankrupt, and I always thought that was so weird.
Uh-huh.
Because that is the epitome of catastrophizing.
Wow.
That's something that a lot of people have gone through. People have certainly come out of it, but at the time when someone is feeling like that is the end of the world, it really, really feels like that's the end of the world. That's it for me. You know?
Wow. You cancel. Is it like canceling yourself out?
Yeah. It's like this is it for me. And people do this, over all kind of things. Um, People just panic, and even like I've had some people that have had things that haven't even happened yet that they will catastrophize. Like people have phobias about people harming them or breaking into their home.
Oh,
And
wow.
when they think about that happening, they will literally have heart palpitations
Oh,
and
yeah.
freak out, you know? So, You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because it's going to hurt you to
Mhm.
catastrophize.
Yeah.
Teenagers do this a lot.
Yeah.
Teenagers lack that portion of the frontal lobe that allows them to see the future and allows them to see their coping mechanisms and what has worked for them and what hasn't in the past. So it
Yeah.
feels like everything is imminent and this is the end for me. So teenagers do this a lot, and this is contributing to a lot of suicide in our
Wow.
youth. Um, so what you want to do is say to yourself, I would not like for this to happen, but let me focus on how I'm gonna handle it. Let me focus on that. I don't have control over the situation. I don't like that this is happening, but let me focus on how I'm going to manage it.
Yeah.
And when you focus on how you're going to manage it, you're going to draw upon strength that you have shown yourself in the past. What
Yeah.
did I do last time I felt like this?
Mm.
When last time I felt like it was the end of the world, what did I do?
Yeah.
You know, and then did I ever come to the realization that it wasn't the end of the world? That it was actually just a problem and that I had steps I needed to take to solve it, you
Yeah.
know?
And I remember when I was depressed, I just felt like I don't know when I'll be able to smile again. I don't know when it's gonna be. It seems so far away.
Right, right.
Ooh, Lord. And I'm just so happy that I can. Ooh, them days is gone.
Well, some of it is chemical. Sometimes when you get that melancholy stuff where you feel like that, that's why it's important to kind of stay ahead of this stuff because if it gets to a certain level of depression, it's really hard to come out of that. It's really hard to break those negative thoughts and feel like there's anything positive to look forward to. So sometimes people have to combine medication with
Yeah.
some of these things that we're talking about. It's not just a one step approach. Sometimes
Yeah.
you need to get over that hump
Yeah.
and get some relief to even begin to have the courage to work on these thought patterns. So I wanted to mention that because everybody's not capable of just, oh, I think I'm going to change my thoughts. I'm going to do that. Everybody
Yeah.
can't just
I
do
was
that.
on anxiety and depression medication at one time. So,
Yeah. It's
get over
helpful to
that
get
hump.
out of the slump. It helps you to kind of get it started to try to
Some
have the strength.
serotonin.
Right. To have the strength to do what you need to do. So that is catastrophizing. Personalization. Personalization is our paranoid folks that
Mm.
feel like everybody is out to get them. Everybody's trying to attack them. Everybody thinks they're better than me. I'm going to constantly compare myself to other people. People do this with social media every day. I'm going to go on social media not with the intent of promoting my business or saying hi to friends and family. I'm going to go on social media so I can look at all these different people and compare them to myself.
Wow.
And then I'm going to blame myself if I don't feel like I meet whatever expectations or whatever they're doing,
Wow.
you know?
My.
So this is just kind of like making everything about you.
Wow.
Every situation that happens, everybody that you become jealous of, or everybody that has something negative to say to you, you know, and this is something that is sort of promoted in our
Mm.
pop culture, haters and
Mm-hmm.
this kind of stuff. It kind of promotes people to sort of be on hypervigilance for who might, be have it out for them
Mm.
type of thing. But it's kind of a really poor way to spend your time.
You ain't got time. Ain't got time.
It's not good because, like, let's say I go on social media and look at people's pictures and stuff, and I'm comparing my life to them or what have you, and I
Yeah.
don't actually know what's going on behind closed doors in
Right.
their house.
That's right.
So I'm not
Yeah.
even working off of real information.
Yeah. Just what they want you to see.
What they want me to see, people Photoshop and you know.
Yeah.
So it's just really not a good thing to do. It's a very self-centered thing to do, and it
Uh,
will hurt you to do
yeah.
this all the time. So
Yeah.
it's not good. Okay, so shoulds. My last one is shoulds, and these are like our judgmental uh our bossy, judgmental people that, and I do this all the time, by the way, that
Uh-oh.
want to just tell people what they should and should not do all the time. And when people don't do what you would like them to do, now you're upset and depressed and angry and, just
Mm.
beside yourself.
Oh, yeah, I think I got some situation where I feel like people should do some things.
Right. I do too.
Hmm.
We all do it. We all do it. I do it with my kids. I do it with my dog.
Yeah, I think I do with my child.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Not good. Not good, because what's going to happen is that you don't have control over other people.
Mm. My,
You
my,
don't have
my.
control over other people and how they act, how they respond, how they treat you. None of the above. Even if you have control over your children, that is only going to go to a certain age, and then they're going to start, becoming independent and beginning to differentiate themselves, and then you're going to start to have some pushback there. And so we don't have control over others, and so this is something that will have you upset all the time,
Wow.
is these should things and these should statements that we have. Have you ever been to a fast food place and you told them very specifically, very detailed how you wanted your food, and they got it wrong?
I
Have you
have.
ever experienced how much anger that's so like infuriating?
That don't bother me. That one don't.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our favorites, but some people get
Yeah.
really, really
Oh,
upset.
yeah. Now, I have seen people act a fool and talk to them crazy.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Because they should do their job this way.
Yeah.
And I don't even work there. I don't know the procedures. I don't know what they're supposed to do, but I've decided what they should do at their job. That's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And so now I'm mad.
Lord Jesus.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
good. It's not good. You can't change people. You don't control people. And don't should
That's a tough
yourself.
one there.
Don't should yourself. Don't I should have done this. If I would have done, could have, would have, could have, should have, then this and that. Don't do that to yourself. So
Mm.
now you can have fodder to beat yourself over. That's not healthy either, because things that we do are done. It's
Mm.
done. So again, if it's hurting you, stop doing it. If
Mm.
it's if should thinking is helping you to progress in life, by all means continue to do it. If it's, hurting you, stop doing it.
Yeah.
So how do we, let's say we're working on our thoughts. How do we work on our thoughts? Well, one thing you can do, you can stop. They have an actual method called thought stoppage, believe it or not, that is about recognizing when you're doing something and telling yourself, stop.
Mm.
Just that simple.
Yeah. Stop.
Just stop. And I've seen some people in my practice where I've told them to put like a rubber band on their wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I feel myself doing some filtering or
Yeah.
doing some mind reading. I'm gonna snap that rubber band so I can say stop to myself
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just catch it and just stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people can do that, some people can't, but it's a strategy that I want to
Yeah.
throw out there for our strong,
Yeah. That's a
strong
strategy.
folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can stop. Another thing you can do is to relinquish control in all
Mm.
these situations. Say, you know what? I'm giving up control over all these areas of my life where me trying to control how other people think about me, how other people treat me, what is about me and what's not about me, what's good and what's not bad, what should and should not be happening. I'm going to relinquish that. I'm going to give it to God, or I'm going to give it to, the unknown, or however you want to phrase it, to
Yeah.
relinquish that control and say to yourself and make a commitment to yourself to try and do that more
Yeah.
than not. Another thing you can do is to give back. It really helps with the perspective thing. If you have seen other walks of life, if you have seen underprivileged folks, or if you've seen people that have less, or you've seen people that are incarcerated, or you've seen people that don't have their children, or you've seen people that, are in shelters and things like that. This is where um, it's actually helpful for clinical disorders to help other people that are struggling more than you.
Yeah, I think so.
It is. It's absolutely helpful because it's not going to cure you, but it's almost like a support group. It's like other people struggle like I do,
Yeah.
so there's some comfort that comes with that. Of course, I'm a big fan of fitness, exercise. It's free antidepressants, endorphins.
Yeah.
You can work on your body image. By the way, this is something we can control. We can control how much we work out, what goals we set for ourselves, what kind of body gains we want to make. This is something that we can actually control. So this is
Yeah.
something that if you're trying to focus on things that you can control, what do you focus on? Well, this is something you can focus on because you can control this.
Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah. And in line with that, if you schedule your day, that's something you can control. You can
Yeah.
actually schedule your day from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep with just insignificant things like cooking, like reading, like walking, like polishing your toenails, like
Yeah.
whatever, because I control that schedule.
Yeah.
That's something I control. Instead of looking at my phone trying to see did this person text me back,
Yeah.
what I am going to do is at 9 o'clock, I'm going to take me a hot bath until 9:45.
Yeah.
I scheduled that.
That's right.
And people say, "Hey,
That's
are
right.
you free?" Nope, I'm busy, and you don't be doing nothing. You just do the
And it can give you a sense of accomplishment too,
right.
to make you kind of feel good that you accomplished
Absolutely.
everything that you set to do.
Well, guess
Keep
what?
it.
You know what's coming next.
Uh-oh.
You know what's coming next because you scheduled it.
Yeah.
You know. So you see people do this all the time. Are people that like to stay busy? That's what they're doing for themselves. They're basically trying to control their time. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's relief that comes from that. There's some gratification that comes from that. So if someone is struggling a lot emotionally, they're in their head too much, they're thinking too much, they're having, problems with, how things are going in their life, scheduling is actually something you can do to help you with that.
Yeah. That's good.
Another thing is organization. I can
Mm-hmm.
control how I want to organize my home. I
Yeah.
can control that. You know,
Yeah.
We see this with people that are serving prison sentences all the time. They don't have any control over the fact that they're incarcerated, when they're being released, that type of thing, but they can organize that cell, you know what I'm saying? And they can
Yeah.
set up their schedule, how they want to do their day, and they can keep it clean and all this. This is something
Yeah.
that we literally get mental relief
Yeah.
from is organization. Um, Then another one, this is growing a lot. Mindfulness is growing a lot. And there's a lot of great literature on how to incorporate mindfulness
Mm-hmm.
into your life. But I like the simple one of the five senses because you can always remember it. It's easy to remember. You can do it anywhere. When you become very upset, consumed in your thoughts, focused on these irrational thought patterns, you can literally just take a break and focus on your five senses, one at a time. 10 minutes each. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to focus on what I smell for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to focus on what I hear for 10 minutes. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on how I feel my body feels in my clothes and in my seat for 10 minutes. You can do that
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, you kind of forget whatever you was thinking about.
Yeah.
It's
Take
very
your mind
cool.
off of negative.
Yes, it's very cool. Um, if you're a person that's into relaxation, meditation, kind of getting away mentally. You can meditate using, music or visual
Yeah.
stimuli, or
Oh
you
yeah.
can visualize in your head. But another thing you can do is what they call the elevator, where you kind of visualize that you're in an elevator, and at the top, you're at the height of your pain, your anxiety, your anger, your depression, what have you. But as you're breathing and coming down the elevator, the idea is to bring down that pain, that worry through breathing and through visualization of actually coming down that
Yeah.
elevator.
I
And you
like
can do
that.
that for as long as you need to do it for. I mean, some people can do it in 5 minutes. Some people need to be on that elevator for 30,
Yeah.
you know.
I
But
like that.
these are, I like things that you can do anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So um, those are my strategies. And I'm trying to give you like the quick stuff today because I want to,
Yeah.
give the people something they can leave with. But there's a book, one of my favorite books that helps with cognitions called Thoughts and Feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Find it on Amazon, Barnes and
Thought-
Nobles, what have you. It's called Thoughts and Feelings.
Yeah.
It has descriptions of all kind of the kind of distortions that we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
It has little worksheets you can do to help you practice on how to stop those thoughts and change those thoughts and
Yeah.
cut it out. Um, and it has like charts. It's awesome for being able to kind of practice this on your own.
Yeah.
So thoughts and feelings.
That's good. Y'all, if y'all have any questions, it's open. She's open to answering them for you. So we looking out for them right now.
Hopefully, I haven't overwhelmed y'all with information today.
Yeah. It's good to, go back and rewatch and just find yourself and listen to these strategies and overcoming it.
Right,
That's the key, learning new knowledge and applying it. You can't change what you don't know.
right.
So it's plenty of information here to show you what could be leading to your anxiety, what could be leading to you feeling depressed, and how to fix it.
Yeah. Nine
Yeah.
times out of 10 is your thoughts. It's usually
Yeah.
what it is.
And which one of those does hopelessness fall under?
Well, kind of all of them, but the filtering, like the black and white, I'm sorry, I'm focusing on one aspect, the negative aspect, that's pretty hopeless. The black and white thinking where there's like, everything all of a sudden is like all bad, that's pretty
I
hopeless.
think that's probably what led to my depression.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of, most people do these things. Most
Yeah.
people do these things, but some of us do it worse than others. And sometimes we do it worse than others at different periods in our life.
Yeah.
And when you allow depression to consume you, which some of us, we end up doing accidentally,
Mm-hmm.
the thoughts are going to be worse and you're going to hear them louder, you
Yeah.
know. So the key here is really awareness.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have the energy to try to work on your thoughts that day. So, I'm doing that catastrophizing today. I know I'm doing it. I'll work on it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But at least I know I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
And I know that it's hurting me to do it.
Yeah. That's
So,
the key.
yeah, it's really more awareness than anything.
That's right.
And sometimes you have to write down the tools that help you because when you're upset, you won't remember.
Yeah.
So where did I write down what I did last time I felt like this? Let me find that
Mhm.
piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
What to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That's
Questions?
right.
Anybody got questions for me?
Put your questions down here so she can answer them for you.
Has anybody heard about these type of thought distortions before? Anybody heard about them from their therapist or been in therapy and became familiar with these?
I hadn't heard of 'em. I haven't ever been to a therapist.
Well, this gonna be like your behavioral therapists are gonna talk about this kind of stuff. There's different kinds of therapy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but the behavioral therapists, this is what they talk about.
Mm.
And most of the books that are written about depression and how to help yourself with that are gonna follow these guidelines on thought distortions
Yeah.
and
Thought
fixing
distortions. That's good.
it. Yeah,
Looked like they were just listening. Nobody don't have no questions.
that's fine. I'm so glad to be able to share this information
Oh yeah.
with you guys. We have a lot of mental illness in my family.
Yeah.
A lot of people have struggled with severe depression. Um, And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect, but
Yeah.
I feel like these strategies have helped me to
Yeah.
stay 1 foot ahead
Yeah.
of being sick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not that everything's going to be perfect. You're not going to struggle with negative emotions, but
Yeah.
you can feel it, you can hear it, you can tell yourself, this is the road I'm going down, and it's not going to end up doing you in. You
Yeah.
know, that's the thing that I want people to know, is that it's not, necessarily about curing yourself.
Yeah.
It's just self awareness and knowing what you tend to do,
Yeah.
trying your best to cut it out
Yeah.
more than not, you know.
That's good.
And when you're aware, you can actually tell your partner. Like if you go into a new relationship, or even if you're in a long term relationship, you can familiarize your partner with what you tend to do. When I get upset, I tend to kind of focus on, catastrophize things a little bit. That's what I do in my mind. So if I'm doing that and you hear me doing that, let me know. Let me know when
Yeah.
I'm doing that,
Yeah. That's good.
and people can help you with that.
Come on, man. That's all right. Well, I sure thank you for coming on and helping us, because we need it in this season. We need it in this season. So y'all make sure y'all go back and rewatch it, the thought patterns that lead us to depression and anxiety that we've been feeling, and how to overcome, strategies to overcome. So we want to thank Miss Shannon Khan, for Psychotherapist Shannon Khan, for giving us this information on tonight. And oh, what she say? So many great points. Self awareness, tools, and faith. That's right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, we want to thank her for coming on, and thank y'all for tuning in to the Self Love Journey Conversations with Shei Atkins. Till next time, thank you, and see you soon. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.